Hey, it's me. You were probably wondering if your speaker was blown out or perhaps you had turned the volume all the way down. No, in fact it was me. You see, I didn't charge my microphones before filming this video. So I went on a 30-minute rant, and in the first minute, my microphone died. Now, you're probably wondering, Alejandro, how did you go so long babbling on without realizing your microphone is dead? Well, kids, that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. Monitors. Those are essential to filmmaking. You see, without a monitor, how would you ever know that your camera was dying or if your microphone wasn't even recording the audio that was happening? You see, those are great questions, but here's my argument to you. What if you're a broke bitch like me? You can't really do the whole monitor thing, can you? Poor shit, my pockets are empty. Pockets on swole, you don't want to tempt me. Yada yada yada, bless me. So anyways, this is a lesson to you all, okay? Charge your microphones. Now back to the video. Yeah, no, I totally get your perspective on colonialism being a driving force for American foreign policy and how social democracies can never work in South America because of capitalist interests. But, why are your pants off? Hey, buddy, how's it going? Oh, hey, what's up? Hey, have you checked out that new movie? No, I haven't seen that movie. Why? Oh, dude, the cinematography is great. Yeah. Is it any good? What? Is it a good movie? I mean, it's the cinematography is fantastic. I mean, like visually, it's stunning. Cinematography. It's gorgeous. What does it mean by good? Well, I mean, they shot it on the Sony FX9, so I mean, you know, how good could how bad could the story really be? You know. So it's a good movie? They shot it on FX9. No, it's not a good movie. I heard they used Sigma lenses. I mean, what are you getting at here? Is it a good or a bad movie? Oh my God, Sigma primes, actually. I mean, you seem like you're playing the fence a little bit here. I don't know what, I mean, like, is it a good story or something? The story? I mean, but you're not hearing me. Like, the visuals, visually it's great, right? I mean, okay. Visually, it's just fantastic. So I should watch it. What do you mean? What do you not hear what I'm saying to you, dude? But why is the cinematography good? I don't get that. I mean, isn't cinematography supposed to be good? Isn't that like why they hired? The cinematography is great, bro. Oh, okay. So I should watch it. I mean, I wouldn't watch it in theaters. So I should wait till it's on streaming? Well, you don't have to like rush to streaming, I feel like. So I shouldn't watch it at all? No, I'm not saying that per se. I mean, you know, the cinematography, bro, like I'm telling you, it's, you know, great. Look. It's worth the it's worth the experience, okay? The cinematography, the spectacle, bro. I'm telling you, you'd love it. You'd love it. You'd love it. So I should watch it. Back with another video for you guys. Hopefully the audio records this. I see the blue light, so I can only assume that it's working. So it's been a while. I've done some soul searching, done some Googling, some YouTubing, some researching, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about good cinematography and bad storytelling, and why these two things work so well together. In fact, one could call it the jelly to the other's peanut, or the bread to another man's sandwich, because these both things go together just like white on rice, or perhaps cone on ice with cream in the middle. Do these words make sense to you? Because that's kind of what it feels like to watch these movies, right? You see the thing that they're trying to do, and yet the words don't kind of do the thing that you imagine the words would kind of supposed to maybe do, but they kind of do the thing that you like to do, which is like pretty pictures, because pretty picture nice, right? That's what you like. Pretty picture nice. Pretty picture pretty, okay? Where am I getting at with this? There's three particular projects that were released in the year 2023, the year of our Lord and Savior, and we will focus on those three to kind of make this larger point about cinematography and storytelling. It should be worth noting, this is going to be a pretentious rant. It's also going to be an opinionated rant. You don't have to agree. Even though my opinion is correct, you're welcome to watch this video, hate watch it, enjoy watch it, but I don't give a shit. because I'm here to talk and you're here to listen. So let's get into the shit. Are you on the toilet right now shitting? Because I'm shitting right now in this toilet. This toilet being metaphorical, and we're talking really about the artistic medium as a whole, and that is film. Before we get into the big topics, let's define some things. Let's get to the definitions. What is good exactly?
Good can be defined as that which is morally right.
Okay, but what is bad?
Bad can be defined as not such as to be hoped for or desired, unpleasant or unwelcome. Here are similes: unpleasant, disagreeable, unwelcome. These are actually synonyms.
Now that we've kind of defined some terms here, let's really get into what we're talking about today, and that is good cinematography. Now, good cinematography is generally anything that you would notice in a film, right? That you would say, hey, that's a pretty image. You probably do that a few times in any given movie, right? I mean, it's almost, instinctual in that way. Of course, this image is pretty. It's a $100,000 camera, $200,000 setup. There's 20 people on the crew. There's beautiful actors, beautiful direction. It's supposed to make you feel like this is good, right? It's a driving point to the story. I mean, like, it's what's gonna connect the dots for you visually, right? So good cinematography can be subversive. Good cinematography is like watching that Burger King ad and thinking that, wow, that burger looks really good, until you realize the burger was actually made out of clay and the bun was paper mache and the whole thing was put together by sticks with lighting, and then you actually go and buy the burger and there's no bun and it's completely undercooked and too much mayo. And good cinematography and bad story work really well in that they sell you this idea, but there's no substance. It's the McDonald's ad for an ice cream sundae, and then you go there and the machine's broken. It's like this expectation, this belief that's supposed to tell you this thing is good, it's supposed to be good, right? But then you watch and you consume, or you think a little bit critically about the idea and you're like, hey, this maybe has some fundamental flaws that are hard to look away from. But the good cinematography is meant to kind of avert your gaze, it's meant to show you visually that, hey, like, we know that the story might not be all there, but like, look at us, right? We're sexy, we're cute, we're beautiful. And that brings me to The Idol. Now, Sam Levinson has been ridiculed through the media for the past couple years now, from Euphoria's terrible season 2 to Malcolm and Marie's mediocre run, and now The Idol, which is kind of his magnum opus of terrible writing. And I've let countless amounts of video essayists and commentators and reviewers kind of ridicule that fucking show to god awful shit. So I'm not gonna give you the gist of this story. If you know, you know. What I want you guys to know is that this show is visually fucking unmatched. It's gorgeous. I mean, almost every frame has you kind of going, holy fuck, that's nice. I mean, the $30 million budget went somewhere, right? And damn near went all of it to the cinematography. It's gorgeous. The set designs are fantastic. The production is incredible. Technically speaking, this show is masterful. It's masterfully made. And then they give you scenes like this.
Fucking stretch that tiny little pussy.
Bruh, look at this dude. Look at his lips.
Or they'll give you scenes like,
Oh, you look amazing.
So much better. Wow. Right?
Your body's just so tight. You look amazing.
Andres! Boundaries.
My family are doctors.
Are you a doctor?
No, I'm not, but my sister and my father, they're both gastrointestinal doctors, so.
My friend's a gynecologist. You don't see me sticking my finger in everybody, do you?
and then it makes you wonder, how did Sam Levinson get this job in the first place? But we're not going to get into that. What I really want to focus here on is how intentional the cinematography here is at subverting the audience, making you believe that this show has more substance than what's actually there. Sam Levinson has kind of become a genius at subverting his audience into believing his writing and his work is good by giving us fantastic actors, fantastic cinematography, fantastic production. The technical aspects of these things are sound. They're wonderful. But the thematic elements of these stories and the plot structures often don't hold up. They look funny in the light, The Idol is really bad, but like really, really bad. But the cinematography is
kind of what gets you through 6 episodes. At least that's what got me through the 6 episodes, because every episode you kind of got something that was new and fresh and kind of a really interesting take on framing and blocking in a way that, I quite really haven't seen in many movies and TV. I mean, it's very stylistic and very beautiful, but this show lacks any sort of fundamental substance. But it kind of shows you this intro into this subversion of cinematography much more in this present way, because you can feel how bad the writing is. Kind of almost every scene you kind of feel it. So it becomes the more glaring example of like this subversion of the audience in lieu of pretty imagery and sexual content. But now I really want to get into the offensive takes that I have. Let's talk about... It should be worth noting here that I am warming up to Saltburn. I still don't like it. I think it's not as offensively bad as Sam Levinson's work, but they're in the same lane. My perception of it wasn't great at first, and I think that my problem is more so into the story aspect of it, because what starts as this movie about will they, won't they, becomes this movie about classism, becomes this movie about degeneracy. Now, there's no shortage of movies that do this, and degenerate movies, movies about anti-heroes, these all exist out in the zeitgeist. We have experienced these movies countless times. Taxi Driver, Uncut Gems. It's not new. I think my problem with it is that the third act of this story feels so half-baked and really underfunded, if that makes any sense. And I don't mean budgetarily, I mean more so like content-wise, it was underfunded. I feel like they spent so much time in the first 2 acts of that movie trying to establish the relationship and what could be between these two, that when we get to the third act and it reveals itself to be a story about degeneracy, we're not really there with you, It doesn't really flow in the same way that the beginning half flows, where you're showing us the bourgeoisie and how they live and how we observe them and how a madman might infiltrate and they wouldn't even realize. But by the time that we've gotten through those points, these twists become redundant, and the, let's say, unhinged scenes of him, we don't really get to the point that she might be making, because the point that she might be making doesn't even make sense, arguably, because it kind of subverts itself. So his whole intention the whole movie, without spoiling, is to overtake Saltburn, but we never really get to the why. And I don't think that you have to explain that part as a storyteller. It would be nice. It's nice to. But I think that this movie sets us up to understand it, but subverts us and then kind of says, fuck you, I'm ending. And that last dance sequence to me just feels like the biggest nothing burger of a movie ending it could be. It just says, hey, look at me, I won now. It makes the movie feel even more like fan fiction than perhaps it might have intended to be, because it kind of shows you that there was no essential point. And movies don't have to have points. That's not my suggestion here. But this movie attempts to have a point, and then subverts its point, and then starts over. Please disagree with me. But when I watch that movie, I don't see the difference between that and The Idol in a lot of ways. I see several similarities, because the cinematography in Saltburn is inarguably phenomenal. I mean, it is unreal. The amount of stylization, the beautiful framing, the fantastic direction in the production design, wardrobe, blocking. I mean, it's all there. It's gorgeous. But once again, you kind of dig into what the story is trying to tell you as an audience member, and it's not telling you anything. And it doesn't have to, right? I mean, I'm not suggesting that. Definitely The Idol wasn't going to do that. This movie clearly relies more on the relationships between Jacob Elordi Barry Keoghan and the direction in production design and cinematography more so than the story itself. Now, I've heard people tell me that I need to see The Talented Mr. Ripley among some other references that were made in this movie, and I will check those out. I don't think that it will change my opinion though, but I'm welcome to be wrong. To me, this movie is more so geared towards people who are attracted to Jacob Elordi or Barry Keoghan, more so than they are interested in the actual text or the story that's trying to be told. Which leads me to my next story, which is... Now, I knew something was up about this movie when people were promoting it by saying, "Oh my god, did you hear that they're shooting this on the FX3? This FX3 Sony is what they're shooting this movie on. Oh my god, could you believe it?" To me, it's a general red flag when people are more focused on the technical aspects of a movie more so than the movie itself. So I was immediately put off, personally, and visually it doesn't disappoint. I mean, it delivers on every shot, every frame, really does a great job at immersing you in the sci-fi surrealist experience where set in this dystopian future, robots, androids exist. It's iRobot but with better CGI. This movie, very visually and technically from the directing perspective, is genius. Gorgeous, inarguable in a lot of ways. And a lot of people will talk about the visual aspects of this movie before they even begin to talk about the story. I had no idea what this movie was about going into it. I think that to me, the story is unremarkable and very familiar, but in part, it's why it's so accessible to a lot of people, I would say, because it doesn't give you anything to think about in a lot of ways. Everything that you could expect from a trope of a sci-fi movie with a rugged cop is kind of there. So you're very familiar, and that kind of gives Gareth Edwards this opportunity to visually wow you and say, yes, you're familiar with these ideas, but here's a world where this is completely new to you. And I think he does a successful job at implementing you into a new world with the same ideas. Now, I do think that those ideas are bland and uninteresting, but once again, people will remember this movie for its cinematography more so than its ability to tell a good story. So we've kind of talked about these three different media properties and their ability to tell visually compelling stories, but less on the conceptually sound ideas. I think it's okay to critique a movie on its story, because ultimately, that's what we're there for, right? I mean, we're there for the visuals, but we stay for the story. And I don't like when we get such compelling visual elements in a movie and there's no substance behind that. Because you can tell that somebody really did give a shit. Somewhere along that process, they really did. Or perhaps they had a particular interest in this story that brought that creativity out of them. And it really hurts to see when those people are essentially let down by the originators of the idea, or at least the plot and story elements don't come with the same energy. Because then you're forcing both the audience and the people working on this to kind of accept mediocrity without even noticing it. Because really what we see is visuals. And like I said before, it's this illusion of being something bigger or better than what it actually is. Because ultimately, it's nothing but a paper mache bun and a clay burger. It's all just for show. In a lot of ways, we can enjoy things for the spectacle, and we can enjoy things because pretty images make pretty people and pretty people make me happy. You know, that's totally fine. We can do that. But I don't think that we should accept a future where more of these things become the norm. We should expect more out of our filmmakers. We should want more out of our filmmakers, especially the ones that are going to come to us with stories that we want to see, we want to hear from. Because American Fiction is, I think, one of the best movies to come out in the last few years, but won't be talked about to the same degree as Saltburn would. But for now, let's talk about the bad shit. Let's laugh at the bad shit. Let's enjoy the bad shit, you know? We have popcorn content everywhere nowadays. Quite literally, this video is. So
I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Did you learn anything? Yes, I'm your guy, buddy. Listen to me, because my opinions are correct and unfounded and unresearched, but they're always proven true. And why is that? Because I'm a YouTuber, baby. We were never researching videos. We were never Googling how these things actually worked. We just came on here with a fucking opinion and a goddamn camera. So please like and subscribe. Be sure to watch next week's video where I take you through a day in the life through my perspective. From waking up in the morning to shitting in the bed and to crying myself to sleep. Thank you. Come again.